Hello everyone. Just give me a quick minute and we shall get started. I'm just okay. So I'll mute myself here. I would unmute myself here so that you can also see me. Okay, so yes, friends, so we shall get started now. So let me quickly tell you on what all we have done until now, right, with respect to auto ML. So okay, so we have started off with auto ML. And then we have spoken about teapot. We have spoken about feature tools. These two will help you understand what happens under the hood when it comes to a lot of auto ML, cloud-based applications which we have or cloud-based tools that we have. Alongside this, we also wanted to get into cloud because the entire training is all about machine learning on cloud. And we have started off with Amazon SageMaker Autopilot. Okay, we started off with this. And while we were talking about Teapot, we also figured out that there is a library called as Dask within Python, which will help you perform parallel processing. It will help you make use of all the different codes that we have. If you have dual code, you'll be able to make use of both the codes. If you have quad code, you'll be able to make use of all the four codes. That is what this is all about. When in the previous module, we started with SageMaker Autopilot, it was continuously running. And we thought, okay, it would take several hours, so we will wait and then we will proceed further on whatever has happened until yesterday. Right. So let me open those things. When we spoke about SageMaker Autopilot, we understand that entire data pipeline can be automated. So end-to-end, entire data pipeline can be automated. And when it comes to data pipeline, machine learning pipeline is a subset of data pipeline. And within machine learning pipeline, you have various things, including feature engineering, etc. All these are automatically performed. But since we have already discussed about Teapot, you know how the different pipelines are experimented, how the different machine learning algorithms are experimented, and how the various hyperparameters are tuned. We understood these aspects, right? And with respect to feature engineering, we discussed something about feature tools. All right. So now you understand how the feature engineering happens behind the scenes, right? Rather than completely be in the dark and not know on what happens behind the scenes, having knowledge about these two would actually help you enhance your skills, enhance your understanding. So You can just open SageMaker, or you can just go here, type SageMaker in the services, and you can open SageMaker. Once SageMaker opens, you will have a lot of options here. We'll go to Studio, and then you can say Launch. Let me click on Submit. Or let me choose a default one. Should not be asking all these things, not sure, but that's okay. Preparing, that's strange. We could open it yesterday, and we could actually execute the entire code. So let me go once again to AWS, Amazon.com. We cannot afford to redo this entire thing. Right? So cost also is showing up. I'll be a little surprised because why is it asking to set up SageMaker yet again when we already have SageMaker in place, right? But the status is showing us pending. So let me wait and see. Maybe this was deleted. I'll be surprised if this is deleted. So let me open that, and then I'll show you, right, on what have we done yesterday and what are we going to do today. Okay, while this goes on, let me also show you another thing in Azure. So there are 3 ML on cloud auto ML capabilities that we are going to explore. One is we are going to explore auto ML capabilities pertaining to Amazon. We will also explore the AutoML capabilities pertaining to Azure. And we will also explore AutoML capabilities pertaining to Google Cloud Platform. All this. Today, the idea was to quickly show you SageMaker Autopilot and then show you Azure. Right? That was the idea. So let me go to Azure. And if you were to look at Azure stuff, right, you will have to open something called as studio.azureml.net. So this is what we need to open. Let it open up, but it would probably be decommissioned very soon in 2024. And after that, you will have some advanced capabilities. Okay. So let me sign in here. So I'll sign in using my maybe ISB ID. I'll be getting a text. So let me log into Azure ML Studio. Come up. So let it come up, friends. I would like to stick to it. And I'm going to click on this, which is called as blank experiment. Okay, once your ML Studio, once you log in, you need to click on experiments. And then you can create your own experiment. Okay. So let me click on experiment, and this is what has come. But even before that, okay, so okay, let it be like that. But even before that, let us explore all these options. You have something called as datasets. Uh, Datasets, web services, experiments, trained models, settings, so on and so forth. If you go to datasets, here is where you can upload your datasets. Okay, for now there is a dataset which exists. But if you do not have a dataset, you can add one by just clicking on new. Okay, what did I do? Just observe. I clicked on this button called as new, which is available on the left bottom side. Right? I just clicked on new. And from a local file, if you click on that, this window pops up. Choose a file. Whichever file you want to choose, you can choose. Let me go to ML on Cloud. It's not showing up here. So let me go to this theme a bit. While I bring up that particular file for uploading that. Did I save it? So I have here in AutoML and ML on Cloud. So this is the name of the file, no show issue. Okay, and then I'm going to load that. Already there is a dataset existing is what it's saying. That's a file. What is this dataset all about? Okay. This specific dataset is all about dental services. A lot of people book their appointment in hospital, right? They take the doctor's appointment and they actually do not show up. They don't go and visit the doctor, especially if it is some kind of cosmetic or dental related services. So there are a lot of inputs in this. We need to build a model which is going to classify whether a person is going to visit hospital or not, given the various inputs. Okay, so let me open this data set and show you in detail on what would be there in this. Okay, so I'm opening this file. Let it open up. Yeah, there we go. So here you have this is the output variable, friends. Right? This is what you need to predict. You need to predict this, which is output variable status. And then you have various inputs, age, gender, appointment date, so on and so forth. All these are the various inputs that you have. Given these inputs, you need to predict the status. So we loaded the data. Once we loaded the data, okay, since the data is now available for you, you can just click on create experiment. Okay, a blank experiment rather. And then you can proceed further. So if you go to experiments, there is no experiment, but you can click on new and create a blank experiment. Okay, now that you have data, it is absolutely fine. You can proceed further. Now, what we need to do is you need to drag and drop. So you would write not even a single line of code, my dear friends. Not even a single line of code we are going to write. Okay, we are just going to drag and drop the various options and the job will be done. Okay, so first, let me show you on how we are going to, do basically a drag and drop. Very, very simple. Just have a look at my screen. You have the saved datasets, expanded, my datasets. You have your dataset here. Just drag and drop. This is the first step. And then you can automatically perform exploratory data analysis also. It is very, very simple. Just click on this and then click on visualize. Okay, you'll have the various variables. What is the distribution of that data? What are the various data points? Everything is very clearly visible for us. And if you select any of the columns, this I've selected this. Immediately on the right side, it shows you on what is the mean, what is the median, what is the minimum value, max value, standard deviation, so on and so forth. Bunch of things. And if you select gender, it shows you various details on what are the unique values, etc. If you select this appointment registration, it gives you various other details, so on and so forth. Right? So that's how intuitive it becomes. Just drag and drop and visualize, and you are able to see bunch of things. Once you do this, I'm explaining you the entire pipeline. What happens? First, you load the data, then you visualize the data, right? Then you'll have something called as metadata. What do you mean by metadata? Okay, you'll have something called as data types. We will have to manually, explore and adjust that. If you don't know where that metadata is in among all these options, just go here to the search and say meta. Okay, and it is showing something called as edit metadata. Drag this and drop it. Drag it and drop it. Then establish the connection. Done. And the moment you do that, okay, it shows you that red exclamation mark. That means you have not selected any of the columns. So you just need to click on the right side, launch column selector. End to end, you can automate it. That is what I'm showing you here. And then you have a bunch of all the columns which exist. Whatever columns you need, just select all of those using a shift key, add them. Add all of those, okay? And then if you feel that any of the column probably you don't need, maybe you feel that appointment registration is not needed, appointment date is needed. So just select that and remove it if you don't want. And then click on this. Done, job done. Yeah. Now, once again, if you want to visualize, do so. I mean, you will have visualize option. And look at this appointment registration is there, appointment date is there. Appointment date is important, not when you registered for your appointment. On which date you are actually registered for your appointment is not important. It's all common sense driven. Okay, that is what we have done. Next, again say you want to edit a few more details. Then just drag and drop. Everything will be based on drag and drop, friends. Why did we do this drag and drop? Because now we want to select. I'll just establish the connection. Now again, you got this symbol type. We want to now say, select a few columns. Okay. And then we want to make those columns as categorical. So you go here, select make categorical. And then launch your column selector. In this, you can start typing, and then you can select all those columns which have to be categorical in nature. Okay, there will be a bunch of columns that we'll have, which will all be categorical in nature, right? So you need to select those. Say you have gender, just type, you'll get it. So all the various columns are visible here. Select date of the week, maybe that's one column. Diabetes, whether a patient has diabetes or not, whether someone is addicted to alcohol or not, do we have hypertension or not, is someone handicapped or not, does someone smoke or not, do you have tuberculosis or not, what is the status, well, will you show up after you book the appointment or not, appointment date. In that way, there are a lot of variables which you feel should be categorical. Say you selected this, click on this, job done, and you made it categorical. And you know for a fact that all these should be features. Features means inputs. So you select that and say that, hey, I want all these to be features. Okay, so you have done. Now again, maybe you want to drag and drop the metadata, and I'll establish the connection with it. And again, maybe you want to this time just launch the column selector and do some other activity. What is that activity going to be? Just say age. Age is something that you have not selected. Maybe time. Okay, maybe the SMS reminder. How many times SMS is reminded? And yeah, say these things. And say you want to make them as non-categorical. You can select them and make them non-categorical. Okay, you can do this drop down and say I want to make them non-categorical. And you also have something called as data type. You can probably go and change the data types of various columns, but we are not doing anything there, right? And we know for a fact that all these which we have just selected are also features. So you select them as features. Then, yet again, we are going to do some metadata amends. And this time we are going to select the output variable. So I'll once again just move it up. And then I'm going to once again drag and drop this metadata. Let me connect these. And this time, when we launch the column selector, or let me close it, you might want to say, I want to select a label now. Okay, and what should be your label? The status, right? Status variable, you want to make it a label. Or let me first launch the column selector, select status, and select that. And then I'm going to change this field as label. Okay, you made it label. Wonderful. So far, so good. So you could select your data set. You could amend your data sets. I mean, here you selected all of your columns. I want to show you. You loaded your data set by just dragging and dropping. Data uploaded. Then here, what are we doing? We are trying to select all the required variables. Then we are selecting categorical variables. Here we are selecting non-categorical variables. And these two, we are calling them as features or inputs. And then here, we have selected the target variable, label. Okay, this is what we have done. Then you can run the algorithm. So you go to run and click on run. It is going to execute all of these things that we have done once again, just to ensure that there are no errors. Once it is done, it also gives you a message saying that upload of the data set this has been completed. You can also stop it midway, etc. But that's not needed. Okay. And it is putting a check mark against each and every step. Once it puts the check mark against all the steps, that means successfully all these steps have been executed. At this stage, you can click on this and click on visualize. And then you will see all the various columns that you have, right? Like age, for instance, it is showing up as a numeric feature. Gender is showing up as categorical feature. Earlier, it wasn't showing all these things. And this is automatically taken as date time feature. This is also showing as date time feature. And the day of the week is showing as categorical feature, etc. And when you click on status, it shows categorical label because we selected this as a label. Whichever column has been selected as a feature, it is showing up as feature. Whichever column has been, shown as, as categorical feature, categorical label, that is showing up as categorical. But then, maybe if I go here, scholarship, there was another column in the data set called as scholarship. Whether someone received scholarship or not. Say you want to now add that column. Maybe you forgot that, hey, there has to be this specific column, but I forgot adding that. Then at a later point of time also, you can launch this column selector. Okay. And you can select whatever you have missed out, you can absolutely select that. Okay, and after selecting, once again you need to run it. Click on this and click on run. And it's going to run all of those things yet again, and it will keep putting a check mark against each and every step that it completes. After that, we will see whether that specific variable got created or not. I'll click on this and click on visualize. Do we have scholarship now? Yes, we have. What is it showing up as? Categorical feature. It has 2 unique values. Okay, until now, we could do some data pre-processing or data cleansing. Let me just adjust it so that I have some space to perform the other activities. Now, if you want to build a model, you just need to split the data, drag and drop, connect these things. Whenever you want to build a model, you need to split the data into training and test. Okay. If you see here, you want to split rows 50%, randomly you want to split, so on and so forth. Bunch of things are available here, bunch of options. Okay. Say you want to, use relative expression or regular expression or recommend a split, so on and so forth. You can select whatever option you feel is right. Then, you can leave the default options as is if you're not aware of those options. Absolutely fine. But then say here you change this to 0.7, meaning what? 70% of the data you want to put it in training. That is what it means. So that's it. I mean, here you need not worry too much. Then let me, because I need some more space to drag and drop, right? So here also I can do that in this minimum. All right. Now what do we do? Now we need to build models, right? Train the model. So you can just type, I want to train the model. Okay, train, you can say model if it doesn't come up. Drag and drop. Here it is up to you on how many models you want to build, etc. Say you want to try building 2 models. Again, drag and drop. Now from the split data, the moment you select this, it will show you something in green. That means you can connect to those. Okay, it just says that connections can be established in that. Then again, I'll select this so it shows green. So you are establishing connection there. And now, after you train your model, what is it that you are expected to do? We are expected to, first of all, select a model, right? And there are a lot of models which are available. So let me see where, instead of typing, right, I just want to go here so that I show you all the various machine learning libraries here. One second. Do you have anything else is what I'm trying to figure out now. Initialize model. Within initialize model, you need to figure out what is the exact problem that we're trying to solve. Here, given the inputs, we want to figure out whether someone is going to show up after booking an appointment. Will that patient show up or not show up? Means will that patient turn up for the doctor consultation or not turn up? They've just taken an appointment, right? There is high chance that they might not even come. Okay. And then if it is show up or not show up, it's called as classification model. And it's a 2-class classification model. Since it is 2-class classification model, let me go to classification here. You can use 2-class, maybe decision jungle. There's something called as decision jungle. You need not be worried. You choose any algorithm that you want. It's a 2-class problem, so choose any of the 2-class algorithms. If you feel that, you know what, I also want to try out 2-class decision forest, do so. There's no stopping. It's up to you on how many algorithms you want to experiment. And once you have this here, you select that. You select this. The moment you do that, green color notch appears. And it is an indication that you have to establish the connection to that part. So everything is shown to you. So once you split the data into training, and then once you build your model, I don't know why those were popping up anyways. So what did we do? We have taken the data. We have segregated the data as target variable, label, and the inputs. In inputs also you made it categorical and non-categorical. So let me show you once again. We have first loaded the data. We selected all the variables that you wanted for your analysis. From these variables, you segregated inputs, and these are nothing but features. But here, features were categorical. We selected categorical features. And we have also selected non-categorical features. Categorical features and non-categorical features both were selected. Then here you selected your target variable, which is nothing but your output variable, which is called as label. So once we have got the required data in a required format, we then wanted to split the data into training and test. And then what did we do? We split the data in such a way that 70% of the data will be into training. So that is why it is showing these two things. So 70% of the data would be into training, and another 30% of the data would be into test. On that test data, you want to score your model. Testing on test data is also called as scoring. And you have two algorithms, 2-class decision general, 2-class decision forest, two models. And you want to train on those models by taking what data? Training data. So you're supplying training data to your 2-class decision general, and you're also supplying your training data to your 2-class decision forest. After you do that, you need to test. Okay, that is where we are at this point of time. Okay. So the testing is also called as scoring. The moment you type score, you will see score model. You just need to drag and drop that file. So you have score model, and need to drag and drop it, and need to drag and drop it. Now, what is it that we are expected to do? We are expected to take this and score the model. Take this and score the model. And you want to score on what? On your test data, which is here. Okay. The test data is here. Okay. Now, once you score, that means once you test on the test data, you need to evaluate and see whether your model is giving good results or not. So we are expected to evaluate. So you just take this evaluate model. Okay. And then we will have to evaluate both the models. So what you do is take this, get it here. Take this, get it. But then you see that there is this exclamation mark on training model. If you observe here, there is an exclamation mark. So click on launch column selector. And then you need to type your column status. That's your output variable. It's gone. Similar thing you have to do for your other model also. Select this, click on launch, and select your output variable or label. So you're telling to your model on which is your output variable, which is your label, and all that. Okay. And we have come until evaluate phase. Now what we need to do is we need to run the model. Okay, entire setup is done. You split the data, what models you want to build, Okay, entire thing is done. All you need to do is now click on run. When you click on run, all the phases will get executed. Okay, so it will put a tick mark as in how different steps are. See, it has put a green tick, green tick, green tick mark, meaning those are the various things which are getting completed, as in how you wait for more time. You will see that the clock symbol, the wait sign, is changing to a tick mark. Once everything gets changed, then we can proceed further. But while that happens, let me show you that when you click on this, there are a bunch of options available here. Bagging, okay, what resampling technique can be used, right? What should be the number of decision? These are all called as hyperparameters. You can experiment with those hyperparameters. You can make certain changes if you want. Of course, now that we ran by using the default options, you need not make any changes. I will ensure that all the options remain as is without even bothering to change those options. So it's taking a while because training a model is all about learning the different patterns, right, in the data. So it would certainly take a while, but it won't take far too much of time. We need not worry about that. Once this is done, we are going to deploy the model. How do we do that is something that we'll look at. Or even before that, we'll visualize the results. So let it complete, and then I'll visualize and show you all the various metrics, evaluation metrics, how they appear. And then we are going to deploy this model in production. And we will use the new data to do the predictions. We'll do everything. End-to-end entire pipeline, we are going to understand using this and how it is done when it comes to Azure ML services. You'll understand. So let it complete. Yeah, it is done. Right, it is done. Once it is done, you can just click on this and click on visualize. Now it is going to show you all the various metrics. This is called as ROC curve. You also have precision recall curve. You have something called as lift ratio. Right? You have accuracy values, F1 score. F1 score is considered to be the best when it comes to evaluating your model. Okay. And then you have true negatives, true positives, bunch of things which exist. It's up to you on how you want to evaluate. Okay. Or which measure you want to use, but usually people use F1 score as a best measure. And that is exactly what we would have otherwise seen on Amazon SageMaker also. I need to just see how the experiment got deleted. Anyways, in tomorrow's session, I'll show you right from scratch Amazon SageMaker as well. Okay. Now, we need to basically deploy the model in production. Okay, we will have to do that. How do I deploy? This is where majority of the data engineering aspects come into picture. But which one do you want to deploy? You have to figure out. You have to select that. Say you want to deploy this model, two-class decision first. Then you select that and click on Setup Web Service. And within that, you have this specific option, right? Or the recommended option, which is Predictive Web Service. Right. You just click on that predictive web service. Okay. It says, please select a train model. So finish. Um, Now it says creating predictive environment. All right. The moment you click on finish, it says creating, model. But then I think it won't move. It says has failed. My bad. This is the train model that I need to select. My bad, sorry. And just go to setup web service, click on this. Now an operation is going on. Okay. It's doing everything that is needed to build the model. And then it is going to create your predictive service. You can also give an appropriate name to your experiment, like you can say doctor's appointment or something on those lines, so that things are clear. Now that it is done, let me do this. You see a web service output. So you see web service output here. Okay, so you need to just click on run now and click on run. This is yet another step, right? So what this run would do is it would again run the scoring model, etc. And then it would put a tick mark or a check mark. Yeah, I got this check mark. Okay, so web service also is created for me to deploy my model. And now it says deploy web service. The moment you click on deploy web service, it is going to deploy a model. And then it shows up this. You have the API key. People are good at software programming. You know that that key would be critical for you to deploy this model on your web application or mobile application or anywhere. And you also see request response, batch execution. Which one do you want? You can also do batch execution, or you can do upon request. This is just for us to test whether the model has been executed properly or not. You can also download this. It will have a bunch of options for a software developer to take it to the next level. This is how it will completely automate. Now that we have deployed the model in production, we have to do one more thing, that is simply test. Okay, test by giving some inputs and see what happens when we test it. So you also find that the option called test. Click on that. Okay, and you can give various inputs as need be. So here you have all the inputs. You can say ages maybe 23, gender is male. You can give various, I mean, you can ignore those things where you feel that it's not relevant. Wherever, whichever you feel is relevant, do it. Say you have Tuesday, okay, as a day of week. Status is something that you want the prediction to happen. Do we have diabetes or not? Are you alcoholic or not? Do you have hypertension or not, etc. Scholarship, I say yes, I got a scholarship, maybe tuberculosis, SMS reminder, awaiting time, you have a bunch of things. You select all these inputs, whatever values you want to give, you give. SMS reminder, say yes, you want SMS reminder, etc. After you're done with all these things, just click on this. Okay, the moment you click on that, Look at this last option here. This is the option if I were to zoom it. What is it saying? Status will be show up. We get 23 for age, male M. Rest of the things we haven't given, it's null. And we told that day of the week is Tuesday and so on and so forth. And it says that there is 71% probability that this particular patient will show up once this person takes the appointment. This person is going to show up. That is what it says. These things you can just close. Okay, and you can just keep this prediction result. If you want this prediction result to show up on your web application, sure, you can. Okay. And then you can also click on this test preview. Okay, and you have a bunch of other options which are available here. You can give the results here and click on test response if you don't want to test it there. And the output would be displayed here. Okay, this is also another thing that you have. You can click on this API page. You have various options. Here it is showing up the sample request. All these are the inputs. These are the values, right? And then what are the categorical variables? Which of those are non-categorical variables? Right? Everything will show up. These are the various columns that we have. Right? This is the output, okay, based on your data. And then here you have Python code, the sample Python code to establish the connection from the local computer. Okay, you can just copy, paste, and then use it for your future purpose. You also have in C# and R. Okay, this is how easy it is to build your applications. Okay, so now that we completed Microsoft Azure ML Studio, I wish to also say that in tomorrow's session we are going to talk about SageMaker Autopilot, because that experiment got missed out. So no worries, I'm going to redo it, and tomorrow we will use our local computer, local system, and then we are going to supply the inputs here, and then this is going to connect to cloud and then give you back the results. This is what is going to happen. After this, after that part, we will get into Google Cloud Platform, and we are going to explore auto ML capability of Google Cloud Platform, so that all the various aspects are clear. Once this is also done, we will move towards affirmatively, hopefully, Amazon machine learning services. There are a lot of machine learning services which are available on Amazon. We'll also talk about this. Okay. So I'm going to stop here, friends. Thank you so much for your time and patience. Tomorrow, once we connect, we will take this discussion to the next level. Thank you all so much. Bye and good night.